Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. You don't need to carry the weight of everything on your chest. You hear me? You weren't built to be everyone's fixer, everyone's therapist, everyone's punching bag. At some point in life, you've got to learn to emotionally detach, not because you don't care, but because you finally do. You care enough to protect your peace. That's real strength. Now, don't get it twisted. Detachment isn't cold. It isn't silence. It isn't giving up. Detachment is clarity. It's knowing that your sanity is more important than constantly fighting battles that were never yours. It's stepping back, not out of weakness, but because you refuse to drown in chaos that doesn't belong to you. People will test you. Life will test you. Every day, something or someone will try to hook into your emotions, pull you into drama, guilt, fear. But you've got to know this: you can't control them, but you can control your response. That's power. That's freedom. You don't detach to be distant. You detach to be present with yourself, to choose where your energy flows, to stop bleeding for things that don't bleed back. That's not heartless. That's maturity. That's elevation. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and others is step back. Let them figure it out. Let them walk their road. You don't need to micromanage every emotion, every outcome. You've got your own mountain to climb. Stay on your path. And while you're on it, remember this: your peace is your responsibility. No one's going to hand it to you. You protect it. You earn it by saying, I won't let this steal my joy today. And you say it again tomorrow and the next day until it becomes who you are. You're not made to break. You're made to rise. So stop holding on to what hurts. Stop making homes out of chaos. Stand tall, walk with purpose. And when the world gets loud, when emotions run high, don't react. Breathe, detach, focus. That's how you win. That's how you stay free. Understanding your emotional triggers is one of the most important steps in learning how to emotionally detach. Triggers are those moments, words, behaviors, or environments that cause a strong emotional reaction. Anger, sadness, fear, shame, often disproportionate to the situation. They are tied to deeper, unresolved parts of ourselves. Maybe it's a tone of voice that reminds you of being criticized as a child, or a rejection that brings up every moment you felt unwanted. When you don't understand your triggers, you become a puppet to them. You react before you think. You attach before you realize. You spiral before you even know why. Emotional detachment doesn't mean cutting yourself off from feelings. It means being aware of what causes those feelings and choosing your response with intention, not impulse. The first step is to observe your reactions. Start paying attention to what makes your heart race, your mood shift, your voice rise. What makes you feel defensive? What makes you feel small? These moments are messages. They're not random. They're clues pointing to something unresolved inside you. And until you face them, they will continue to hijack your peace. Once you recognize a pattern, go deeper. Ask yourself, where does this come from? Whose voice is this really? Is this pain from the present, or are you carrying something old into a new moment? The more honest you are with yourself, the more power you gain. Because when you understand your triggers, they lose control over you. You begin to create space between what happens and how you respond. You stop being pulled into every emotional storm and start standing still in the center of your own calm. Accepting what you can't control is not weakness, it's wisdom. Life has a way of humbling you, reminding you over and over again that no matter how much you plan, predict, or protect, some things will always be out of your hands. The people who leave, the ones who stay but change, the circumstances that shift without warning, the job that doesn't come through, the apology that never arrives. You can exhaust yourself trying to force life into a shape that fits your expectations, or you can learn to release the grip and find peace in the flow. When you resist what's outside your control, you don't change the outcome, you only drain yourself. You get tangled in frustration, anxiety, and resentment. You start carrying burdens that were never yours to hold. But when you begin to accept, truly accept, that you can't make people behave a certain way, that you can't reverse the past, that you can't dictate every outcome, you stop wasting energy on things that don't serve you. You create room for clarity, for movement, for peace. This kind of acceptance isn't passive. It's not giving up. It's choosing your battles with discernment. It's saying, I will show up fully where I have power, and I will let go where I don't. That's emotional maturity. That's self-respect. You can't heal when you're stuck trying to control everything around you. Healing begins when you let go, when you trust that some endings are necessary, that some people are lessons, not lifelines, that some things will never make sense, and that's okay. The more you accept the uncontrollable, the more powerful you become within yourself. Because in that space, you shift from being a victim of circumstance to a master of your own response. Setting clear boundaries with people and situations is one of the most powerful forms of emotional self-protection. It means defining where you end and where someone else begins. It means deciding what you will allow into your life and what you will no longer tolerate. Without boundaries, you become emotionally exposed, constantly absorbing other people's energy, problems, and expectations. You begin to say yes when you mean no, overextending yourself just to keep the peace. But peace that costs your well-being is not peace, it's self-betrayal. Boundaries are not walls, they're gates. They don't shut people out. They show people how to respectfully come in. When you set a boundary, you're not being rude, distant, or selfish. You're being honest. You're choosing your mental and emotional health over guilt or people pleasing. You're saying, this is what I need to stay grounded. This is what I need to feel safe. This is how I choose to be treated. And those who truly respect you will understand. Those who don't will push back, and that resistance reveals everything you need to know. Clear boundaries help you detach without resentment. They give you the ability to show up for people without losing yourself in the process. They allow you to be kind without being used, present without being drained, giving without being emptied. You can love someone deeply and still protect your own peace. You can care for others while prioritizing your own emotional space. Every time you set a boundary, you reinforce your worth. You remind yourself that your needs matter, that your time, your energy, your space are valuable. Boundaries are not about controlling others, they're about honoring yourself. And the moment you stop asking for permission to draw those lines is the moment you start living from a place of emotional strength. Detaching with love, not bitterness, is a higher level of emotional growth. It means letting go without carrying the weight of anger, resentment, or hate. It's choosing peace over poison, even when you've been hurt. Bitterness may feel like power in the moment. It gives you something to hold on to when everything else feels out of control, but in reality, it's a chain that keeps you bound to what broke you. Love-based detachment, on the other hand, frees you. It allows you to step away while keeping your integrity intact. When you detach with love, you're not excusing harmful behavior. You're not pretending things were okay. You're simply refusing to let that pain define your heart. You're choosing to walk away clean without dragging darkness behind you. It's telling yourself, I don't have to hate you to heal from you. I don't have to destroy you to find closure. That mindset requires strength because the ego wants revenge, but the soul wants release. It's not always about people either. Sometimes it's about dreams that didn't unfold, plans that fell apart, seasons of life that are over. Detaching with love means thanking the experience for what it taught you and moving forward without bitterness clouding your vision. It's giving yourself permission to feel everything: grief, disappointment, sadness, without becoming those emotions. You don't always get the apology. You don't always get the ending you hoped for, but you do get to choose how you carry it. Bitterness weighs you down. Love lifts you up. When you detach with love, you create space for something new, something better, something more aligned with who you are becoming. It's not about them. It's about protecting your spirit. You can leave with grace, even if they didn't treat you with it. Detachment is often misunderstood as indifference, but the two are not the same. Indifference is cold, disconnected, and uncaring. It's when you completely shut off from people, situations, and emotions, often out of fear or apathy. It's a defensive mechanism that stems from a place of numbness. Detachment, on the other hand, is a conscious choice to release emotional attachment while still maintaining your humanity and compassion. It's understanding that you can care deeply, but you do not need to emotionally invest in every person or situation. When you detach, you acknowledge what matters to you, but refuse to let it control you. You stop taking on other people's emotions, expectations, or dramas as your own. You set boundaries and protect your peace without closing yourself off completely. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care from a place of strength, not desperation or dependence. You are able to love, empathize, and support others without losing yourself in the process. In contrast, indifference leaves you emotionally paralyzed. It builds walls around you, shutting you off from the beauty of life and the vulnerability of genuine connection. It may seem like a shield, but it's a hollow one. Detachment allows for emotional freedom. It gives you the ability to observe without judgment, to be present without getting swept away. True detachment allows you to release unhealthy attachments, whether to people, outcomes, or past experiences, without sacrificing your empathy or compassion. You don't have to shut off your emotions to protect yourself. You simply need to learn how to respond rather than react. Detachment isn't about not caring. It's about choosing where to invest your emotional energy and where to let go. Focusing on your inner peace Rather than seeking external approval is a transformative shift that can change the entire trajectory of your life. External validation is a constant pursuit, a never-ending chase for praise, recognition, or acceptance from others. The truth is, it's fleeting. It depends on other people's opinions, which are often unpredictable and inconsistent. When you place your worth in the hands of others, you give away your power. You allow external factors to control your sense of self, and with it, your emotional state. The moment someone praises you, you feel good. The moment someone criticizes you, you feel bad. This emotional roller coaster leaves you exhausted and perpetually dependent on others for a sense of peace. On the other hand, inner peace is self-sustained. It's rooted in your own beliefs, values, and understanding of your worth. It doesn't rely on anyone's approval or disapproval. When you focus on cultivating inner peace, you take full responsibility for how you feel and react. You learn to accept yourself, flaws and all. You embrace the truth that you are enough, regardless of what anyone else thinks or says. External approval may come and go, but inner peace remains constant when you nurture it. Focusing on inner peace shifts your mindset from seeking validation to seeking alignment. It's about doing what feels right for you, living according to your values, and trusting your own judgment. When you make peace your priority, you stop measuring your success by other people's standards. Instead, you measure it by how true you are to yourself. This inner compass guides you through challenges with clarity and calm, no longer swayed by the opinions of others. Inner peace becomes your anchor in a world that is constantly trying to pull you in different directions. Practicing mindfulness and self-awareness is the cornerstone of emotional detachment. Mindfulness allows you to become fully present in each moment without getting lost in thoughts about the past or anxieties about the future. It's about observing your thoughts, emotions, and reactions without judgment or attachment. When you practice mindfulness, you create space between what happens to you and how you respond. Instead of being automatically triggered by every emotion or external situation, you develop the ability to step back and simply notice what's going on inside. This awareness is powerful because it allows you to recognize when you're emotionally invested in something that doesn't serve you, giving you the choice to detach before it pulls you under. Self-awareness is closely tied to mindfulness, as it's the deeper understanding of your own patterns, triggers, and motivations. It's about understanding why you react the way you do, what your values are, and how you typically respond to stress or conflict. The more you are aware of your internal landscape, the better equipped you are to make conscious choices about your reactions. Self-awareness lets you see when you're operating from past wounds or projections rather than the present moment. It's not just about knowing what you feel, but why you feel it and whether that feeling is aligned with who you truly are, or if it's a reaction based on old, unhealed patterns. When you practice both mindfulness and self-awareness, you stop being at the mercy of your emotions. You stop reacting out of habit and start responding with clarity and intention. You see life as it is, not as your past experiences or fears would have you interpret it. This shift allows you to let go of unnecessary attachments and move through the world with greater calm, stability, and emotional freedom. Staying purpose, driven instead of emotion, Driven is one of the most powerful ways to maintain emotional detachment while still living a fulfilling life. Emotions are often unpredictable. They rise up without warning, and when we allow them to dictate our actions, we become slaves to them. One moment you feel confident and unstoppable, the next you feel defeated and overwhelmed. This emotional roller coaster can cloud your judgment and distract you from your true goals. When you're driven by your emotions, you're constantly reacting to the world around you instead of taking deliberate, focused action toward what truly matters. Being purpose-driven, however, is different. It's about having a clear vision of who you are and where you want to go, regardless of the emotional ups and downs that may arise along the way. Your purpose is a steady force guiding you even when life gets tough. It's grounded in your values, your long-term goals, and your sense of fulfillment. When you focus on your purpose, you rise above temporary emotional states. Instead of reacting impulsively to whatever situation or person is in front of you, you stay aligned with the bigger picture. You act based on what is truly important to you, not what feels good in the moment. Purpose-driven living helps you detach from distractions, setbacks, and external opinions. It keeps you centered, reminding you that you have a mission beyond the immediate emotional noise. When challenges come your way, you're less likely to be knocked off course by frustration, anger, or disappointment because your purpose acts as an anchor. Staying focused on your purpose allows you to be intentional with your energy, investing it in what will lead to long-term growth and fulfillment rather than being tossed around by fleeting feelings. Recognizing when to walk away is a skill that requires both emotional intelligence and self-respect. It's about knowing that sometimes, despite your best efforts, situations or relationships are no longer serving you, and it's time to move on. Many people stay in unhealthy situations out of fear of being judged, fear of failure, or fear of what others might think. They hold on because they believe if they just try harder or give more, things will change. But often, the hardest yet most empowering decision is knowing when enough is enough. Walking away doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing yourself. It means recognizing when you're pouring your energy into a place where it's not being appreciated or reciprocated. It's having the courage to release things that drain you, whether they be toxic relationships, unfulfilling jobs, or situations that undermine your well-being. When you stay in a place that no longer aligns with your values or growth, you're choosing stagnation over progress. The longer you hold on to what isn't meant for you, the more you limit your potential. Recognizing when to walk away also involves setting boundaries. It's about saying, I will not continue to sacrifice my peace, my health, or my happiness for something that no longer serves me. This isn't about running away from discomfort. It's about having the strength to choose your own path, even if it's uncomfortable. Sometimes walking away is the only way to preserve your dignity, your mental health, and your future. It's a form of emotional detachment, but it's also an act of self-love. When you recognize when to walk away, you create the space needed for something better to enter your life, something that aligns with your growth and your true worth. Protecting your energy like it's your life source is not just a practice. It's a necessity for maintaining emotional well-being. being an inner peace. Your energy is what fuels your ability to think clearly, act decisively, and stay balanced in the face of life's challenges. It's your mental, emotional, and spiritual vitality. And when you allow it to be drained by external forces, you're essentially depleting your ability to function at your highest potential. The people, situations, and environments you engage with either replenish or drain your energy. If you're not mindful, you'll find yourself exhausted, overwhelmed, and unmotivated without even knowing why. Protecting your energy means recognizing when something or someone is draining it and making a conscious decision to disengage or set boundaries. It's about tuning into how certain situations, conversations, or people make you feel. Do they leave you feeling uplifted, motivated, and at peace? Or do they leave you feeling anxious, exhausted, or resentful? Once you identify what or who saps your energy, you can take steps to minimize your exposure to those influences or protect yourself from being negatively impacted. This could mean distancing yourself from toxic people, creating boundaries at work, or limiting your time in environments that don't align with your values or goals. Protecting your energy also means taking proactive steps to recharge. This could involve regular self-care routines, mindfulness practices, or simply spending time in solitude. When you need to ground yourself, it's understanding that your emotional and physical health must be a priority. When you guard your energy, you're able to show up in the world with a sense of purpose, clarity, and strength. You stop allowing others or circumstances to dictate your emotional state and instead take full responsibility for the energy you bring into every situation. In conclusion, emotional detachment is not about building walls or shutting down. It's about creating space for your own growth, peace, and strength. It's about understanding your emotional triggers and choosing how you respond. It's about accepting what you cannot control, setting boundaries, and detaching with love, not bitterness. It's about recognizing that you are more than your emotions and deciding to be purpose-driven, not emotion-driven. By practicing mindfulness and self-awareness, you gain the clarity to stay aligned with your true self. And by recognizing when to walk away, you protect your peace. Finally, you must protect your energy as if it's your life source, because when you preserve your emotional well-being, you open yourself up to greater possibilities and deeper fulfillment. By following these principles, you will not only learn to detach, but you will also learn to live fully with intention, grace, and unwavering strength. The power to change your emotional landscape lies within you, and once you embrace these practices, you will find the freedom to thrive no matter what life brings your way.